I was going to go with Charlotte, who I think is going to be a contender as well, just like UTSA. They're going to be tough. The common theme for them, and it's becoming common for all of sports and colleges, a lot of transfers coming in to replace people that left. And we all know who left. Number one pitcher Blake Gillespie threw the no hitter. We saw him on Friday, and in Charlotte, and yeah, that's a and he's a big guy, a big missing piece, hard to replace. But coach went into the portal and has a lot of people that transferred. But the 49ers were 36-22 last year. That's the fourth time in 5 seasons they won over 36 games. They were 18-9 in the league. Was that second or third? I can't remember. I think it was second. But
They
anyway,
were second.
yeah. So Charlotte's going to bring a tough task to Greenville when they come this year. But that I project them either, they're going to be right there. UTSA, East Carolina, and Charlotte are going to be top three teams in the league, in my opinion. But you never know how this works out. Sometimes somebody comes from the bottom of the league and ends up surprising a lot of people. Schedule wise, they open up with San Diego. They have Clemson, Old Dominion, Virginia, just like a lot of the teams in Carolinas. They played a lot of Virginia teams and South Carolina teams. They got Campbell as well, South Carolina, USC Upstate before they open the season at Wichita State and or yeah, X Stadium, home of Tyler Field at Gene Stevenson Park. Johnny mentioned Gene Stevenson's. For anybody that doesn't know his legacy, please go look at it. And I think Bubba has some interviews with him as well out there. Legend out in Wichita. So they're going to open up with Wichita at Wichita. They come back and play South Florida before they come to Greenville, which would be the first or second of April through the fourth. It's going to be a tough challenge. Then they have to leave Greenville and go back home, and then come back to Chapel Hill to play the Tar Heels on a midweek game. They have Clemson towards the end of the year. Then their second to last or penultimate series is against UTSA at in San Antonio, and then they come back and have to go to Boca Raton to play Florida Atlantic. So yeah, let's get into all the transfers they have. There's a lot of them. And, they brought in Gillespie last year, a transfer from Georgia, went out there and became the Friday workhorse. They think they may not, they have another one this year. It's looking like a guy named Drew Munn, transfer out of Central Connecticut, is going to end up being the Friday starter. He pitched 80 innings last year for them, and they played in the Auburn Regional. So he was a hot commodity in the portal based on what D1 was saying. But what I found interesting is I don't know if anybody knows, there's a training facility in Charlotte, private, called Tread Athletics. I know about it. My brother-in-law, who's a pitching coach with the Nationals and works for Sam Nairn in that organization, told me about it. A lot of these minor leaguers who don't have homes to go to, like East Carolina provides for all the professional players, uh, go to facilities like this, and they do a lot more than just say here's the rubber. I mean, they have a lot of commitment to try to get these guys a lot better. So Drew Munn went there. Supposedly he's upped his arsenal from last year. We'll see how that goes. They were saying he's touched as high as 97. Like I said, we'll see how that goes. But anyway, he projected to be the first pitcher, but they have a slew of other arms as well. Let me go down and talk about one of them. Looks like Wesley Jones is in the mix for a weekend rotation spot, but or even maybe Friday. Like Jr. was saying, it's very early right now, and they're going to have to figure out what's going on. But he's a big pitcher. Came from Walter State, about 95, mid 90s, with a lot of cutter type pitches. which are typically tough to hit. And they have a guy named Joseph Ted. We should know him. He was their bullpen ace. He had a great year, strikeouts, 75 and 57 innings, 57 and two-thirds innings. Um, but yeah, so pitching wise, they're trying to figure out who the Friday starter is. They do have enough that are going, and we know Andrew Cribbs is also going to be in that mix as well. We saw him, I think, on Saturday last year. He was the number two when we went to Charlotte. And then they have a couple transfers that they're looking at. And then we also know one of the boys from Greenville transferred over there. See what he's going to be able to put in the mix and what his role is, and that's Jaden Winter. Everybody knows him from the roster last year, East Carolina. So for the pitching staff, a little bit better situation than UTSA has, in my opinion. But they do have to figure out who their early arms are going to be. As far as hitting wise goes, they like I said, the term is transfers galore, and so let's take a look at what's going to happen here with their batting. Give me a minute here. I got to find my place. So the big guy that we remember, or we don't remember, but we do remember he came from Merrimack, but he was there with them last year. But he hit 340, 17 doubles, and 14 home runs with 53 RBIs, and that was Dawson Bryce. He plays third base. Big guy, great arm, and yeah, he's going to be a challenge in the middle of that lineup. So then they also got graduate transfers that are also going to be probably hitting in the middle of the lineup there with DiMartino. We saw him at UNC Wilmington. And then they got a transfer from Kentucky named Dylan Kuntz, who is a nearby, he lived in Huntersville growing up, and he went to Campbell. So we've seen him as well. He didn't bat very well for Kentucky last year. In 70 at bats, he batted 214, but he can mash, apparently. They say he can. We'll see how that goes. And then, going back to DiMartino, he's probably going to be a regular in that lineup and give you a fairly solid bat and good defense. Then they also have a transfer that's coming out of Miami. Began his career at Liberty. His name's Todd Hudson. So he hit 11 home runs in 2024. So he's coming on. So those three transfers that brought in right there are very tough. So moving on to a guy that had 8 home runs last year for them is Cody Gunderson. So just a good bat, solid. You're going to get some bombs out of him. Might hit double-digit bombs and doubles. So there's the middle part of their lineup is pretty strong, and they're going to pepper in some guys that are a little bit light hitters but great defenders. At the end of their lineup and at the beginning of the lineup. They did get a transfer from Auburn to catch. He looks like he's going to be the starter. He's only caught 20 games for the Auburn Tigers last 2 years. He's another one with a little bit of a batting average problem, but great defense. They're looking to, and obviously the catching position you want to get as much as you can out of them offensively, but the main goal for them is to be able to host a pitching staff and keep them in the right order. So, and then they have another transfer from a guy out of Santa Fe who started at NC State, and that's Nedry, big guy. He took a lot of walks. He's going to give you a good on base. He actually hit 422 in junior college last year. So just like our team that has the JUCO transfers, we're going to see how that translates at the bigger level. Then they have another transfer out of Virginia Commonwealth. Very good infielder, scrappy offensive player is what he's been described at, and doesn't strike out. But he was a 304 batting for VCU, and he'll probably end up being their top of the lineup guy. So they do have a young catcher as well who may If the Auburn catcher transfer does not work out, Aaron Orozco is in the wings waiting. Looks like a very talented player coming along. So, getting down towards the end of the year, I expect Charlotte to be at the top of the league again, first, second, or third, and vying for conference championship and then also tournament championship.
Crazy fans paint the jungle wild. Dreams of Omaha in every mile.